Thanks for checking out Chamber Web TV. This is Cambridge Votes 2014, a conversation with the candidates for the upcoming October 27th municipal election. I'm Greg DeRoche, your President and CEO of the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce. It's my pleasure to sit down with Ward 7 candidate Adam Treble. Adam,
Hello.
How are you?
Pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you, too. It's wonderful to have you here out at the Chamber offices.
Thank you.
Is this the first time you've been here?
I believe it is, yes.
Wow. How do you like it?
It's very nice. It's a very inviting place.
Yeah, we see lots of visitors come through here. We try and drive them into town to spend some money and leave it here. That's kind of the objective.
Yeah.
And we're not ashamed of that either, Adam.
Yeah.
I've got probably the toughest question first that you'll ever be asked as a candidate.
Okay.
Why is Adam Treble running?
Well, I believe that was because of the other stories that I read up about the other candidates. And they look like regular everyday people. And I just thought, well, I thought I'd try it out. It's almost like a bucket list item. You know,
Yeah.
I'd try it
Good for
once.
you.
Yeah. You know, because at the end of the day, or, you know, God's day, so to speak, it's just like I had to try this at least once, work for the constituents at least once, and just say at the end of my life, hey, I tried it, and why not?
You know what? When I sat on city council, I used to say the same thing. The reward that I got out of just running in an election was really, really good. And then the reward I got out of actually serving was even better. And I said, everybody needs to try this or do this once in their life. It's just, it's an obligation I think we have to our community.
I've met some very interesting and nice people along the way so far, and I have a feeling that I'm going to be making a lot of new friends going forward from here.
Have you been door knocking?
I have, yes.
Is it fun?
It is actually, yeah, because it's one of the most interesting ways you have to meet people.
Yeah.
And meeting a candidate face to face gives you a much better idea of what kind of a person the candidate is.
Yeah.
It's more so than seeing on TV.
Yeah.
So it's something.
Yeah, you don't get that real interaction with a candidate if you just see them on TV, because most candidates, as soon as the camera comes on, they stiff it up a little bit.
Yeah.
They change their voice. They want to sound, you know, but
Yeah.
But you know, you want to talk to the person like you talk to them on the street, and
Sure.
I think that's good for you. You'll have a lot of fun walking through the wards, I'm sure. And,
Oh yeah.
And banging on doors and smashing your knuckles and wearing out shoes and doing all the things that candidates do.
Yeah.
Tell me something, Adam. What do you feel is the biggest issue facing Cambridge and every other municipality in Ontario today?
Well, I believe it's probably the aging infrastructure. I like to use bridges and water mains as an example. As they start to approach the end of their life expectancy, it's hard to determine exactly when they're supposed to be replaced. You get approximate range, and for safety reasons, I guess they'd have to take a bridge out sooner than they originally planned, because you can get ice in there during the winter time that will break it up, and there'll be damage to the bridge that you can't see. So it's a hard balance.
Yeah, like a pipe, I think the feeling, oh, it's not leaking yet, it's okay, but you don't, that leak could start anytime.
Because, and with the water main idea, you've got the pressure fluctuating all the time in the pipe. And you have pressure on the inside coming out, and the landmass pressure going into the pipe, and the pressure balance isn't right, it'll rupture. So as it gets older, it's the more likely it will break down.
So every municipality has that problem, and there's well, I would absolutely share that with you. That and that's the problem. Therein lies the problem. How do we, without raising taxes significantly, how do we deal with that?
Yeah, I like to believe that changing technology coming up in the future will be the answer gradually over time.
Yeah.
Because when this stuff is scheduled for replacement, that's the time to put the newer technology in and try to make it watertight for those pipes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Longer life?
Longer life and less expensive, because if you've got a leaky system, it's really expensive, because you got fresh water leaking out that doesn't reach the homeowner.
Yeah.
And then on the sewer line, if you got leakage there too, you got water coming in, you're treating water that doesn't need to be treated.
Ah,
So you got more leakage and more expense on that direction too.
Yeah, interesting. What's the biggest issue in Ward 7? You've been knocking on doors.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard people say, I hate this, I hate that. What is the biggest issue that you see?
Well, the most fascinating one that someone brought up to me is a really high water bill. And I was shocked to hear this one homeowner tell me he got a $3,000 water bill. And I thought that was extremely expensive. I don't understand how it could get that high.
That's a lot of swimming pools.
Yes, it sure is. So yeah, it was really interesting to hear that story, and I'd like to try and help out people like that and understand why bills are the way they are. It's going to take a lot of investigation.
Yeah, there seems to be something wrong with that. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
well, I don't know how you, like when I said that's a lot of swimming pools, I think I can't remember now where I read it, but somebody said it's probably about $500 cost you to fill a swimming pool from dead empty.
Oh wow, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, how do you get to $3,000 unless you got
Yeah.
6 swimming pools in your backyard? Empty, all empty, by the way. But yeah, that seems to be something, and it seems to be a trend. I read a lot about it in the newspaper and on social media. You can see a lot of those things happening. But I think there's certainly something that needs to be looked into there, whether it's a metering problem or whatever. Frankly, Adam, the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce is looking for people with some big, bold ideas to carry us forward, not just the next 4 years, but beyond.
Sure.
What's Adam Treble's big, bold idea?
This is going to be an interesting one for you. I'm looking at trying to provide people a hand up. And I like to consult the non-government organizations we already have here and do some more consulting with the government assistance programs we have and find out where they already help and where they don't, or where they leave off, and try to find out where the gaps are in the system. And it'd be nice to have some involvement with City Hall to figure out how to fill those gaps, so that if someone wants to make the trip from being on the edge of homelessness or paycheck to paycheck, they can improve their life however they can through this plan. So it's going to take some time to investigate this and develop it, because this is meant to be complementary to the existing systems.
So it's not to replace anything, it's to fill that void and that gap.
Yeah, because they all help out in different ways, but there's always a little piece here or there that's missing that they don't cover.
Sounds certainly big.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of research and development with all the stakeholders.
Yeah, because I think, and that's something, where government struggles all the time, and they can't just keep writing checks, because that doesn't always seem to work either.
Yeah.
There needs to be a toolbox of some sort in between where people can be helped to provide for themselves.
Yeah.
And, that should be a principal objective, I believe. So
Yeah.
that's great. As you may or may not know, the Chamber of Commerce opposed the LRT. And more particularly that Cambridge had to pay its share, and we probably wouldn't see it. Now, we didn't oppose the LRT because we don't like public transportation. We don't think people should ride public transportation. We opposed it largely because we thought it was the wrong technology at the wrong time.
Right.
Way too expensive or too small for that. Now, I like to put those little digs in because I still want to emphasize to everybody I'm still a little bitter, but but to also let everybody know that democracy prevailed. The vote was held.
Yeah.
The vote was in favor of going ahead with LRT, and it's a done deal. We're putting it in as we speak. That said, we have a premier now that has a majority government. We have a member of that legislature that is in our riding.
Yep.
The premier herself said, there's a possibility she could look at advancing the LRT to Cambridge faster. However, there'd be some work to be done, because you got to qualify for LRT before you can simply get it.
Right.
What do you think Cambridge should do to help build the ridership so that we could qualify for LRT funding?
Well, a good one would be to point out the financial advantages of voluntarily putting your car in the garage just as a tester and leave it there for a month and get a bus pass. And if you compare the cost, it's really easy to compare that just with gas. And if you use a pickup truck to get back and forth to work, even within town, I've heard it can be about $800 a month for gas alone for that.
Wow.
And a $75 bus pass to do the same thing, it's worth considering.
Yeah. Yeah, now, part of the issue, and a lot of people, I deal with, predominantly the business community, and some of them out in the industrial section says, well, the buses don't come out here, and my employees would like to take the bus to work because some of them don't have their own transportation, but they can't get here.
Yeah.
So they have to cab it, or the employer goes and picks them up, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So what you would be saying was, to make sure that we've got access to public transportation, and then encourage people to give it a try and give it a test.
Yes.
When I was ward councillor in the Preston area years and years ago, I used to make it a habit of mine that every 6 months or so I would jump on every route that went through Preston. I would just go around and see if there's any problems. Because you always get complaints that there's nobody on the bus. And
Yeah.
you got this big bus driving down the street, tell them to park it or something like that. But people don't understand how it works necessarily. But so I used to do that, and I think, you know, it was comfortable enough.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think, you know, from my perspective, you know, being in love with my car, so to speak, or maybe not necessarily in love with it, but I have to have it. It wasn't convenient. It just wouldn't be convenient.
Yeah, it's difficult balance to do because having the right bus route going to your workplace, or at least getting close to the workplace, would be really beneficial. And you know, years in the past, I've been kind of lucky that way because I did manage to find bus routes that were close to both my home and my workplace. And for a while there, I almost had door-to-door service just by luck, chance. And I used the bus, and it was very beneficial financially.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's great. Much has been said in the news about GO service to Kitchener and Cambridge. In fact, the Premier of the province of Ontario said, I promise, two-way all day to Kitchener. It's a 2-hour and 5-minute ride into Toronto from Kitchener.
Yeah.
Cambridge has been looking to try and get GO for some 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
We're now again, because of the change in government situation in the province of Ontario, we maybe have a little bit of an upper hand to maybe get some funding to get GO. What do you think the benefit, other than, you know, the convenience of maybe, you know, people in Cambridge being able to just access it here to go into Toronto, what other benefits do you see having GO service to Cambridge, or do you not agree with bringing GO service to Cambridge?
Well, I agree with it. I think the travel time to Toronto will be going down by about an hour just by going out from Cambridge. And I think it'd be complementary to the LRT, especially if we manage to get the GO train within walking distance of the LRT. They can both like help each other out. So.
Yeah, I think, you know, it might drive some ridership. I've often said, you know, I've never taken the GO. And not because I don't want to go on public transportation. That's not the issue. The issue is it's again never been convenient for me. So even to drive down to Milton and drive in and then park my car and get a ticket and jump on.
Yeah.
If I have a meeting in downtown Toronto, generally, you know, I'd like to go in early in the morning and get out before lunch. But I've often said if we had two-way all-day GO here in Cambridge, I probably would use that because it's a lot more convenient once you're in Toronto than trying to find a parking spot.
Yeah.
And it actually goes quite close to where I normally would go for meetings anyway. So I think the other advantage might be that GO itself would find new riders and people like me.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be good service. Have you ever taken the GO?
I believe I have. I tried it once going from Kitchener to Toronto, and it was a nice ride.
Was it?
It was a little long, but it was 2 hours and 5 minutes. But I would enjoy the ride more if it came out of Cambridge.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Adam, you're a young guy. Where do you see Cambridge in 25 years?
Well, ideally, I would see the LRT completed all the way to Annesley Station, if that were possible. And I see it being a more popular place to live, work, and play. And yeah, it was. I think its proximity to London and Toronto is going to be a big draw for future generations too, because they're bound to have connections, other friends, family, and business in London and Toronto. And it's only a 1-hour commute in either direction.
Yeah, so. I think you're right. I think I always tell everybody we're the center of the universe. You know, we're a day's drive from the most wealthy population in the entire planet. You know, we're right on Canada's busiest highway. We're right in the middle of Toronto and Windsor, so border accesses are really good, and we are. So, see, I've just proven that we are the center of the universe. You know what, Adam? I'm really excited. Might be older than you, but I'm a little techie, geeky guy. I like technology. I love technology. In fact, I can't wait to get my hands on it. I'm really excited that this time around in Cambridge is the most technologically advanced community in the region of Waterloo, because I'm going to be able to have a Facebook picture to put up of me voting online in
Oh,
my
okay,
pajamas. And I'm going to do that so that everybody can see that this is I'm excited about it. The internet's over 25 years old. It's the 21st century.
Yeah.
You do your banking online. You can do investment banking online. You can do all kinds of secure things online. But you could never vote online until now.
Yeah.
I think it's about time. What do you think?
Oh, I agree with it wholeheartedly. Yeah, I think it'll really change the game.
Yeah, do you anticipate, we had about, I don't know, about 30% turnout.
Yeah.
Do you think it's going to go way up?
I think it'll make a big difference. I'd really like to see it go up to about 70% ideally.
Yep. Well, I think so too. You know, we're electing a local government that probably is the most accessible government. Affects every minute of your life when you're living in the community. And yet only 30% of the people care about who's driving the ship.
Yeah.
I think you're right that having more people turn out to the polls is going to create certainly a more caring environment from a politician's perspective. Hey, the majority of the people out there are watching what I'm doing. I better be doing it right.
Exactly.
And, instead of the reverse. So that's great.
Okay.
Well, Adam Treble, do you have any final words for the residents of Ward 1?
7, that is my friend.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ward 7. I'm sorry. Why did I say Ward 1? I was thinking 7, but I said 1. Ward 7, I'm sorry.
Well, I'd say that I'm aware of your water billing problems. You told me all about it, and you've told me about your customer service issues with City Hall. And if you choose to put me in that council chair, you will have an ally in council. Thank you very much.
That's fantastic, Adam. Thanks again for checking out Chamber Web TV. This is Cambridge Votes, a conversation with the candidates for the upcoming October 27th municipal election. Again, I'm Greg DeRocher, President and CEO of the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce, and it's been my pleasure to sit down with Ward 7 candidate, Adam Treble.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thank you.